Bitcoin is in a bear market. Let's say that's the case. Well, now what? First of all, we topped early October. It's early December now, so we're already 2 months into it, which is pretty good. Typically, the bear markets in crypto with Bitcoin, it's about an 80% decline, give or take, right? On average. An 80% decline from the current all time high at 126 will take you down to around 25K. Do you think if this is the bear market, Bitcoin gets down to 25,000? I'm not sure. I personally don't think that's the case. The reason is because obviously to the upside, gains are becoming limited, right? This cycle would have been a 700% gain, whereas the last cycle was around 1800. So diminished gains, institutions are involved. Unless we get some huge type of black swan or a full-blown recession, which by the way is very possible, I don't think Bitcoin does the typical 80% decline. I don't even think it does like a 70% decline. I think with the amount of support we've fleshed out in this orange box I find it quite difficult to see Bitcoin going below it. That's just me. I think 50K is going to be quite hard to breach. I even think 70K is going to be very difficult. I think it's pretty reasonable to assume that if this is the bear market, Bitcoin bottoms somewhere in this orange box. Thing is though, from the top, I think we do go lower, but somehow if it's 70K, that's around a 45% decline. If it's 60K where things start getting a bit more fair, that would be a 52% decline. And if it's down to 50K, that's around 60%. So overall, this orange box is about a 45 to 60% decline from the top. I think it's quite reasonable to assume that this is where we bottom if the bear market has begun. The 200-week SMA also comes in at around that zone. If this is the bear market, we should tap it. That happens every single time. Okay, so why am I saying all this? You tell me, is a 45 to 60% decline a bear market? I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it is. I think it can fit the bill in terms of being a correction, a mid-cycle correction. Now again, if you think things are going to be the same, we go down 80%, we go down to 25K. Negate everything I'm saying, and you might as well click off the video. I respect it, fair enough. But if you're someone who thinks that we bottom 50 to 60K, then keep listening, because here's why it becomes so interesting. Right now, during the time of this recording, Bitcoin is at 86.5K. Let's say you're holding, and let's say we bottom down at 50K. And now, let's consider all-time highs. Right now, the ratio of being in Bitcoin is about 1-to-1 between the bear market bottom and all-time highs. Again, if you think we go lower, 25K, fair enough. But do you understand the significance of this? If you're someone who sold the top, I think staying bearish would probably be the way to go, right? Sell the top, you could target lower prices. But if you're someone who's still holding, the risk reward of getting out of Bitcoin now is a 1-to-1. And not only in terms of the upside are you dealing with potentially this cycle still being intact. Again, because our bias for this video is that the bear market has begun. So maybe it won't happen now, but at some point, if you're bullish Bitcoin, which I assume you are if you're watching this, you think Bitcoin's going to get back to these prices and beyond. So if you sell your Bitcoin now, this is how I see it. I feel like this is going to be such a good example that you can carry with you everywhere, okay? In crypto, there's momentum behind everything. Right now, because we're in a bear market, the momentum is to the downside. If you join that momentum and turn bearish, let's say at this point here, right? Because the all-time high was around here. It's going to be great because you will catch the rest of that trade. You will be right for a little bit. Eventually though, again, if you're bullish Bitcoin in the long term, bear market bottom, which is around another minus 36,000, there's going to come a point where it reverses. That reversal is going to be very painful because you're going to see yourself be right to an extent where it then reverses. You're going to be comparing yourself to how right you were. And now all of a sudden the trend is coming back toward where you originally joined the trend. You flipping bearish now, essentially you're trying to catch this, which is still a decent amount to catch, right? It's about halfway. But the risk reward, it's kind of 50-50, right? And at that point, if we are chalking it up to 50-50, personally, I'd rather be 50-50 long because, things usually resolve to the upside. And what's the main theme of this channel? That every trend reverses. The trend was bullish for a long time. It turned bearish. That trend has reversed. Now, Bitcoin is not the best example because it's the only trend in crypto where it keeps going up long enough. But everything else, it reverses. Any altcoin, ETH even, the trend reverses. Remember, and I'll make the next video on this, we are in the 5th wave of a macro Bitcoin cycle that's been spanning for the last like 15 years. The 5th wave, objectively, has the most fakeouts. It has the most volatility. It has the most divergences, right? So if you look at the RSI, I mean, we've been in bearish divergence. It's been 2 years now. MACDs get divergence. Volume gets divergence. Those typical systems that you can rely on, a lot of the time they can put you on the wrong side of the trade. So you will see some people turn bearish because volume, the RSI, the MACD, they're turning over. In the 5th wave, you get the most fakeouts, right? And specifically for this cycle, I feel if this is R3, I feel like up until this point is very easy, right? This is the 4 and this is the 5, right? This is where it became very difficult. That's what happens. A lot of fake outs. So for me, if I were in a place where I was holding Bitcoin, I would probably keep holding it unless I think we go down here. If you're talking about good altcoins in their macro range lows, it's like this, but even more. It's not a one-to-one trade. Well, Bitcoin isn't either, right? Because eventually it will make new all-time highs. So it's more than one-to-one. But alts are well beyond one-to-one, right? Those that are at macro range lows where you zoom out on the monthly, you look at the alts, they've been ranging for the past 3 years. They have to be good alts, obviously, not something like a Cosmos Atomware, that play didn't really work out. I'm talking about DeFi coins and good coins like that, right? They're like 5 to 10 to 1 on the lower end, right? Where obviously if you go into a bear market, they will take a big hit for sure. Maybe another 50, 60%, 70% haircut from where they're at right now. You can time that for sure. Go ahead, sell, try to buy it lower. You can yield more tokens, maybe double your stack, triple it. Thing is though, if you're wrong at a very, very pivotal moment. I have very high targets for specific altcoins. They could go lower for sure. But at the same time, I think risk reward has to be considered. On a macro setting, you'd be selling the bottom of these altcoins. Again, you'll be right for a little bit. You'll catch this part for sure. It's going to be a great feeling. Once it reverses, the feeling you get here is a little bit more different. The next video, I'll make my count, right, for the macro Bitcoin cycle. Look, timing wise, I got that wrong. I did. I thought it was going to happen this quarter. I thought the break of all-time highs was the start of that. I thought Bitcoin was going to go to 150 plus. We were going to get that altcoin season. That didn't happen. It still could happen, right? All-time highs this month. That's not the point though. The point is, well, now it kind of sucks because it's taking longer, so the targets might have to be raised. I don't know how I really explain that to people where things could be bearish. I won't try yet, but overall that will happen. Others, Bitcoin will make new all-time highs by a lot. And that's going to wrap up the 14, 15 year Bitcoin cycle. Bitcoin's going to go down to like 10K at that point. Alts are going to go to the ground. That's when I buy up a lot of Tau and other coins like that, but don't have to worry about that yet. We'll address that down the line. But yeah, take care. Thank you all for the support, and I will see you next time.